Greetings, greetings. Welcome in. Hi, darling. Just you and I to start. You know how we like to kick this off. We're going to talk about our lovely wins. But before we do that, let's just get grounded because I know how it is before starting a meeting. Or can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Does everything sound
Yeah.
good?
Hmm.
Fantastic. We'll just take a deep breath in at your pace and exhale at your pace. We'll take three just to get grounded. Let's start with the first one. Yes, if you're ready at your pace. Let's start with the second one. Let's give it one more. So awesome. Welcome, welcome, Natasha. I happen to know you, beautiful. But for the replay and the recording, would you love to introduce yourself or
Yes.
like or not?
Yes. My name is Natasha. What else do I say?
Whatever you like. What's a win you've had today or this past week?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so I'm scaling up my own business, right? As a consultant, and I provide strategic services for strategic initiatives and a product that is called PMO, Key Ready Solution. So that's the business side of it. And then outside of that, I really enjoy dancing. And then yesterday we actually had, so I've been part of this program. It's a like an Afro-Cuban
Mm-hmm.
salsa specifically for ladies. So we have a group of several women and our instructor. She's from Cuba. And yesterday we had like a dress rehearsal and a photo shoot and like a little, we went to Bellagio and recorded our performance. It was so awesome. Yes, I'll send you some pictures.
Please. Did you post anything on social?
Not yet because I need to ask both of them, the teacher and the owner of the studio, because they might want to formally release some content before we post. So it just happened yesterday, so I'll ask them.
I love
Yeah, I haven't posted anything yet, so but from my social media, but it's coming soon.
I,
I can definitely send you some pictures.
I love that. Absolutely. Or drop them in the community. That is our private.
Oh yeah, it's even better, even better.
Yeah, share that beautiful win. Let us encourage you, love on you. I love that. My win is making it here on time because I'm on the West Coast and that time change. So I had 12:30 Eastern in my mind. And so it's like, oh my gosh, that's 3 hours ahead. It's
Mhm.
different here and getting it all together. So that's a beautiful win. And yeah, just being able to be here in the sunshine. I'm looking out over the mountains, into the mountains right now. I'm in Glendale, California. So it's just beautiful and it's making my soul sing because I'm here with my favorite person in all of the world, Richard.
That's beautiful.
So we've been hanging a little bit. Well, it's been cool. So that is my win.
Hmm.
Well, let's just jump right in. I'm going to apologize up front for my slide deck because it is not doing what I wanted to do. Um,
That's all right. I'll, do what you need to do. That was my other win is
oh, you have a
actually two wins as you were pulling up.
surprise.
As you're
Oh,
pulling
how
up
we
your
like
deck.
it? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so sometimes, and I don't know, maybe I ate something, so TMI. But so I had this big, event yesterday, right? We had to be in full makeup, high energy, things like that. So early in the morning, I wake up very sick. My stomach was like having a moment. And then I called, so the owner of the studio, she's Belarusian, so we speak the same language and we kind of, share the same traditions. So
Yeah.
she called me, she was like, Natasha, come on, eat some rice. So she reminded me of our, you know, common family remedies. It's like just boil some rice and eat it. It'll absorb all the stuff. And then so she gave me some reminders of how in our culture we would treat something like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let me do that. And then
Uh, so she runs it. She's the director.
so yeah, the woman, her name, we have the same name, Natalia. She and her husband own the studio.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. I thought it was, or did you switch to someone else?
I still go to two different places.
Okay, that's okay. That's very good.
Yeah, I
Oh,
still take classes with Jody, who is also Cuban, but his classes are different.
got you. I'm tracking now.
Yeah.
Greet, welcome in,
Hi, Jennifer.
Dr. Jennifer.
Muted. Hold on. Hi. I was muted.
Welcome. We are sharing wins. Natasha, was there more to that? I'm getting so excited. I might be getting ahead of you.
Yeah. No, I'm just happy I'm not sick today. I was like, yeah, I woke up. My body felt good. I was like, okay, great.
So, Dr. Jennifer, we're going to pass the mic to you. We're sharing our wins, and then we'll get started.
So I had a weekend with my husband. So that was a big win because we were able to get caught up and, all those things. So,
Just you and he? No
mhm,
children?
correct.
Oh, I love that for you.
Hmm.
I absolutely love that for you. Super fantastic. Well, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to share the screen. I'm gonna share the whole screen with my intention. So I won't be able to see you ladies, but you know how we do it. It's informal here. So chime right in and say whatever you have to say. I love for it to be extremely informal and because this is really
Oh, I love it.
about you and this is really about you. And so I just shared the presentation. So hopefully that goes well. It's really about you and your self-love care, right? What that looks like for you, what's true for you. And so this is about the practice that changes everything. And if y'all been hanging around me enough, you know that this is part of my shit that I love, 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 love to talk self-love care. So before the world gets your energy, you deserve to meet yourself first, right? Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
No doubt. Okay. So we already talked about our wins, big or small, and this isn't information. This is recognition, right? We need that. We do a lot as women, and
Mm.
sometimes I can feel mundane and routine, but sometimes you're working a job of three, four, five, six people. I was playing with my chat, having a conversation with my Ori, and I was putting in all the stuff that I had done, and it's like, girl, you living five lives.
Mm.
It's like, do you know that I
Yeah.
say that all the time? Well, now it knows. So I was like, okay, so that was a wake-up call. All right. So welcome to your Sacred Circle Reset experience. And this experience is all about really sacred disruption, creating that reset, that pre-holiday reset, right? We're coming into the holiday season. Want to give you some tools and some practices and some information to really help you weave through and have the clarity, confidence, and capacity to get through the holidays and whatever that looks like for you. Okay, so y'all know me already, but for the good of the order, I am Selena, the disruptor teacher and coach. And today we're going to slow down. We come home so you can come home to you. We will talk about the rhythm that shifts everything. I don't know why my laptop does that. I don't know if you can see that. It's telling me to turn off my reactions in my Mac OS. All right. So
But
what
actually, nothing popped up on. I'm not seeing those. Like
okay, but you do
if you
see the
were,
slides, right?
yeah, it's just the slides.
Perfect. Gracias. So I like to set an intention when we're opening this circle. And so I'm just going to give a little circle intention here. You can feel free to read along or whatever might be true for you. You can accept this intention or not. Because that's the other thing. We're getting in the posture of what's true for us, what we receive, and what we don't want to receive. Mother, Father, God, divine essence within me. So you're reading it because it's you, right? I call forth the spirit of gentle disruption today. I cast out the burden of self-neglect. I step into radical choice where love and care are not luxuries but necessities. May I hear the whisper of my worth, not because someone told me I'm enough, but because I believe it now. I open the circle with courage, softness, and truth. And so it is. Yay. So today we'll explore. Now I've allotted about an hour, and well, if y'all know me, I've really allotted 2 hours. Okay. Everything's going to be here for you. If we don't get to everything in your timeline, it will still be here for you in the meeting room. This is a private room, only you all have access to in the community. So we're going to talk about what self-love care really means, the 7 faces of Ms. Denise. Now that part didn't make it to the slide yet because I got ambitious, but I have it. The hidden cost of neglect, our disruptor definitions of self-love and self-care, and mental wealth and why it is the real flex.
Yeah, I like it.
The rhythm shift that changes everything. We're going to do live Q&A, any questions that you have, and accepting your sacred invitation. And again, this isn't information. This is all recognition, right? Really leaning in and defining our truth. Okay, and before we get started, we have sacred agreements that we love to make sure there's a common understanding and we're all on the same page. Confidentiality. What's shared here stays here. Your story is yours. Get consent before sharing anything outside of this space. So if I like a testimonial, things like that, I would ask for consent because it was so doggone good. It's medicine for others. Care over perfection. Come as you are. Tears, silence, laughter, all is welcome. And y'all know how we in our robes, we're in bonnets, we're having our lunch, our snacks, whatever that looks like, because we need space to be able to breathe and do that. And when you're telling your truth, say I. There is a commonality to say you. Um, and from my perspective and point of vantage, when we say you, and sometimes we do mean you, but if it's your story and your journey, if you say you, it disconnects you from it, right? Because it's almost like you're talking about somebody else, and somebody else might feel like, hey, that ain't my truth, right? So I is very important. Tell your lived truth, no fixing, diagnosing, or rescuing others. Because sometimes, as we know, you just want to get it out. You don't want to hear, all of the other things, and that's okay. Consent before coaching. This is one of my areas that I'm practicing all the time because y'all know I will love to help somebody and I will jump right in. So it is okay. You have permission to tell me, girl, not today. So ask before giving advice. Try, do you want reflection or just witnessing? Dignity of pace. Y'all know I like to pass the mic around here. That is a rhythm to just give everyone's voice in the circle an opportunity, because sometimes it's the first time that some are speaking up. You absolutely can pass, pause, or step away to care for your body and return when you're ready. Honor time. So when we get to the hour and a half mark, the 90-minute mark, if we aren't where we want to be, I ask if you're okay with continuing. If you're not okay with continuing and you've got to go, absolutely step away, but know that that information will still be here for you to come back to. You have access to it for the next 30 days. Okay. And meeting etiquette, use your reactions buttons when you feel led, mute your mic when not sharing. That's the big one, right? Make sure your mic is muted so everyone can hear the conversation. But by all means, ask me to repeat it. I am happy to do that. And we're a small but mighty team right here today, so we might just be fine. I'm okay with if you don't raise your hand and you just want to chime in, because like me, I think out loud. So I recognize that sometimes we need it comes up. Okay. So who is this for? This is for when you're not telling the truth out loud, right? You've spent time putting everyone first. You take care of others, but rarely take care of you. You love yourself in theory, but not in practice. That's a big one, right? It's like someone saying, I want to lose 10 pounds. And then you never put the practice in place to lose the 10 pounds. Quick story here. My son was, I don't even know what, oh, I know what it was. I used to tell my one of my ex, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight. And I'd be saying, it's baby fat. And that joker said to me, your baby is 15. I could have, what? So in other words, you'd have had 15 years. If you get rid of that baby fat, you could have been done it, right? I was like, oh my God, that stuck with me for so long. So you're tired of holding everything together. Let me know if I'm on your street. You're successful on paper, but exhausted in your spirit. Ooh, that one. You're craving clarity, peace, and a rhythm that actually supports you. Jennifer said that's on my street. Yes. You know now that it is your turn, but you don't know where to start. You know I got you. If you recognize yourself here, you are definitely in the right place. And if there is something that I haven't mentioned that you would like to share, by all means, anything come up for you? And as it does, drop it in the chat and we will address it if you're not ready to speak it out loud yet. So you don't have to earn rest. You don't. And if this is you, you just need to stop waiting for permission. So this is your sacred invitation to stop waiting for permission. And I love, this one right here. Self-love care daily, not someday. Because you know why? Someday is nowhere on the calendar. I've checked. Have you ever seen it? Yeah, it ain't there. I'm just saying. All right. Did I go backwards? I'm sorry. All right. So here's your permission. Absolutely your permission. You could borrow it. I have a blank one for you also. You could write your name in there and use it. In one of our sessions a couple months ago, it was so powerful. We had the 5 day session, and right after the first day, which is, you know, it's self-love care, she came back and said, I used my permission slip. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my God. I'm so happy for her. So, some of the symptoms of lack of self-love care: chronic fatigue, resentment, bitterness, and disappearing. Like you no longer feel seen in a room. You're not fully showing up in your life the way you want to. And that's painful because I've been there with all of these. All of these. So, and sometimes you just can't get there alone. You don't get free alone at all. That's why we're here. We're in this sacred community. We are in going to do sacred disruption together. I'm here to help. So, what you learned today is how to put yourself first without guilt or shame. I think those are kissing cousins. I lived in this space for a long time, very long time. And so pay attention to the one-liners. I love to put those there to give you nuggets to take away, right? This one says self-love care is greater than self-sacrifice. And it is. Truly is. So let's get into it. I love, 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 love to speak truth to power, right? And so what I love to do, because the world has put so much upon us as women, I like to define what is true for me. And as you notice, I use the word sacred all the time. And the reason being because it's my truth and what matters to me. And I want you all to kind of grasp that because that is part of the shift, right? Understanding and defining what is true for you. My master teacher, she always talks about getting to decide if if she wants to wear these clothes. So we talked about the word you, saying I versus you. Someone will assume or say something, speak on your behalf, and it may not necessarily be true. And so you get to decide if you want to hold on to what gets said. Like, what's the truth for you? And so that's why I talk about sacred so much. So my disruptor definition, and you get to decide if you want to receive it until you determine what yours is. For sacred is held with intention, protected by your boundaries. And I believe boundaries when it comes to disrupt hers is getting your needs met. It's right, meeting your needs, because that is really your responsibility and no one else's. Although society and the world has taught us that, somebody's going to come along and make us happy and all of the things. And that's part of the way that we get tricked, this falsehood, because if you live long enough, you'll start to realize sometimes you don't even know yourself and what you want and what makes you happy because you're so busy focusing on everyone else. You haven't had an opportunity. And the world has told you who you are before you know who you are. And you've been robbed of your essence. So we'll dive deep in here a little bit further, but it's also honored in your daily choices. What's sacred? If it's sacred and it's important to you, and and we have a rhythm potentially of doing it for other people, we just don't have a rhythm of doing it for ourselves. So we've got to begin to practice that. So it restores, aligns, and expands your capacity for joy. Yes, heavy on the joy. So let me read that because it's I want to give you the full definition in its entirety without my commentary. So, the sacred disruptor definition. It's around understanding what is sacred to you, what is yours, held with intention, protected by boundaries, which are meeting your needs, and honored in your daily choices. It restores, aligns, and expands your capacity for joy. So here's a reflection for you. When was the last time all of you got to be in the room? Let's let that sit for a second. Anyone want to share what comes up when I say that? When was the last time all of you got to be in the room? No mask, no thinking about thousand things, full presence, full. I find for me, it generally happens when I'm away from my day to day routines and activities. So I've gotten a rhythm of traveling or at least getting away from Cleveland every other month. That allows me not to have to look after my mother's needs, look after the dog, or be stepping in dog poop, or just a lot of craziness. Any share here?
Selena, I unmuted myself. I don't, do you want me to type it instead?
No, I see you. Let's go.
Hmm. I was thinking about, I love being home, right? But at the same time, when I'm home, I am very much ingrained in daily routines, right? Taking care of my daughter, taking care of the dog, taking care of the household. And I was thinking about what you said, and being away like earlier this year, right? I just fulfilled one of my dreams, and I went to Cuba by myself.
I love that. Solo.
Right. It was solo trip to the country I've never been to, that speaks the language I don't speak, right? So it was a it was a leap, right? And then somebody else was taking care of everything when I left for the whole 7 days.
I love that.
So yeah, that was amazing to just be with myself for a whole, it was mwah, for full 7 days. It was wonderful.
And how did your body feel? How did that feel in your body?
Actually, I do not remember, but I just remember how my spirit felt and how I felt kind of. I love traveling by myself because it allows me to just plug into the experience right there and then.
Mhm.
Then traveling with other people is awesome because there are other fun things that you can do, but traveling on your own for me is the best way to be in the present without, like, really, there's only one person to take care of and think about is yourself, right? What do I want to eat? Am I tired, right? I think kind of going back to your question, I just went because I was by myself. I didn't have, my daughter or my friends or anybody else to consider, right?
Mhm.
And to level set. It was beautiful. I ate where I wanted. I rested when I wanted. Um, it was, all the 7 days were full of dancing, so it was very physically, just sometimes it would be tiring. And it was very joyful for me to be like, I think I'm done for today. I think I'm good. So I'm gonna go sit by the pool right now, or I'm gonna go eat right now, right? Or I'm gonna go take a nap.
Absolutely.
Um, it was amazing. I like those experiences of being just me.
Yes. Yes. And there are ways that you can have that in your day to day. One that I'll share here. Before I do that, Jennifer, anything to share in this regard around sacred? Comes up for you?
I kind of put it in the chat, but I agree that traveling alone is so much nicer because you don't have to worry about what everybody else wants to eat or where you're going to go and spend half an hour just deciding where to go and all those things. So I just had that experience back in October, September, I don't know. So not too long ago when I went to Boston by myself and I got to see so many things and it was so much more efficient.
I love that. I love that. And I've got the chat. I found it. I would say I agree that travel helps. It is the only time I can feel truly relaxed. Otherwise, I'm thinking of all the things I need to do. Travel alone is so nice. You don't have to plan where to eat with five opinions, etc. Much easier. Absolutely. And we can add that to our daily rhythm. One of the things that I do as a practice, I have a reminder at noonish, to ask myself, what do I need? It's like a midday reset. And it just pops up just like everything else on the calendar. And it says midday thoughts is how I titled it. What do I need? Do I need sage? And I list what that looks like and or what can support me. Big laugh, altar work, a bath, eat, journal, movement, dance, nap, water. So that can become a rhythm that you put in place to check with yourself, potentially. This is how I use it. Okay, get that chat up there. Awesome. So, next up, let's talk about self-love. So, what I like to do is give what the common definition is, and then our disruptor definition. So, commonly, when folks are talking about self-love, they are, oh Lord, they are speaking about loving themselves, being kind to yourself, speaking positively, valuing who you are. The disruptor, you speak well of yourself, but your actions don't always honor you. You believe you matter, but you don't treat yourself like you matter. You love yourself in theory, but again, you disappear in practice. And I do this for the full reflection, right? Because sometimes we have a definition and it doesn't tell the whole story, right? And we need the full to be able to really become aware of what's true for us. Which one rings truer to you? Is it the common definition or is it the um, the disruptor definition?
Yeah, I think disruptor definition has a bigger, it's almost like the full picture. The one that resonates with me the most, you believe you matter, but you don't um, trust yourself, or you don't, sorry, you don't treat yourself. It's shown black on my end, so I'm trying. Okay, you don't treat yourself like you matter. So I think it's important to highlight that the other side of it, of self-love, is goes beyond stated words
Mm-hmm.
into actions.
Absolutely.
I
Ah,
think that's where it's at the main challenge, because it's so easy to say, well, I don't know, those all those words that we see, right? Loving yourself, be kind to yourself, positive positive talk. I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, like that's part of it, but where it actually matters is the action.
Yeah, and I like to call it practice. I've reframed action to practice because sometimes that's where we get stuck. Like, what is the action I'm supposed to take? Well, to me, it's all practice. Practice is a little bit softer and easier to recognize that I don't got to be perfect here. I don't got to be performing. I can practice again and again and again until I find the rhythm that's right for me. And so can you. That's where the permission comes in. Giving yourself permission that it's okay to practice. Because action, again, might feel more like performing and all of the things. And I feel like action starts to get a little heavy.
Yeah, like KPIs, right? And measurements. And yeah, so it's practice kind of takes you away from, puts you in a different mindset, in a more forgiving, more fluid mindset.
Absolutely. And you deserve all of it. You would give it to someone else. And now it's we're turning it inward. Jennifer, anything here, dear? Yes.
I'm on my phone, so I try to find something and the whole thing goes away. So it's not as functional. But one thing I liked hearing that it's you don't have to be perfect because I have a tendency, I catch myself now, but beat myself up because like exercise, I used to do that in the morning before work. Now I
Mm.
live like an hour from where I would work out. So I've tried to do different things to build it in, like go walking at lunch. Now it's really cold outside. Or getting up early in the morning, but I found that doesn't honor my sleep cycle because then I'm like worn out at 5 o'clock. So
Right.
still trying to figure that out. So I'm still practicing figuring that one out.
And you totally can give yourself permission to do that.
Yeah.
I love that for you. All right. So, self-care. Now, self-care, the common definition is around massages, facials, spas, treats, bubble baths, taking breaks when you're overwhelmed. And not to say that that can't be part of it also. Our disruptor self-care definition is caring for yourself only in emergencies, stopping only when your body forces you, resting only when you collapse, doing the bare minimum because you've run out of steam. Does that sound familiar? Is any of that true for you?
Stopping when only your body forces you and resting only when you collapse. Those two for sure.
And for me, sometimes that's a daily activity that happens daily. And that's not good, right? And so as I have journeyed and gone through that, it's like, something's got to give. So these definitions are born out of lived experience. They're
Mhm.
not, they're not meant to be lightweight. Was there more?
Yeah, Selina, I just wanted to add, there was another group of women, or there was a podcast, I forget what, but this is the truth that I learned from a women's circle.
Hmm.
Just, yeah, it's a very common experience that we all live, the burnout, and then you only remember about self-care when when your body screams that it needs attention. Anyways, so they use an example of triathlon athletes. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you train for triathlon, because one of the women was did triathlon, um, the way they plan their practice
Yeah.
is rest first.
Mm.
That's the very first thing that happens. rest. If rest doesn't happen, nothing else happens. They don't train the body or the mind that's exhausted.
Mhm.
And I thought it was very insightful because, again, we like our culture is leaning so heavily on performance. And if you think about, like inspirational, mainly I find like inspirational speakers, mainly men who, like
Mhm.
professional athletes and stuff like that, and or the books, right? They do focus historically on performance, right? I'm meeting, there's like no mention of, rest and stuff like that. So, anyways, I feel like this is super important because rest and care and as a repeated practice, right? It's not something that happens, for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Once a year, right? It's in everyday talk, a lot of times it gets hidden, right? It's made invisible,
Mhm.
even though in reality, rest needs to happen first for anything else to be able to happen.
Shay. Absolutely. So, how are you all doing on your rest thus far? Just asking for a friend.
I would say I'm getting better. I'm practicing.
Practicing, yes, I love
Yeah.
it. Jennifer, good. Yep.
And when
Practice.
I sit down on the couch at night and I'm like just relaxing, I'm like, look what I'm doing. I try to do the positive reinforcement in my brain, like I'm sitting down, I'm not doing anything.
It's okay. It's okay. So, a sacred reflection to take away is, are you caring for yourself only when something is on fire? And if that is currently yes today, we are going to practice changing that. So, in my lived experience and realizing they talk about one or the other, I started to realize as I was building my self-love care routines, I was like, we need both. We need both. It's not one or the other. It is required that we have both. So self-love care did not exist as a term in our vernacular anywhere. So I created it. It is the unapologetic practice of choosing yourself as both the priority and the provider of what you need mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. It is the sacred merge of self love and self care. It is how you disrupt the patterns of overgiving, overfunctioning, self neglect, and self sacrificing. It is both a daily practice and a radical decision to honor yourself through practice. And these definitions can change over time, right? What becomes true to you? Because practice used to say action. And I started realizing, no, that still makes things feel like performance. And it can, and some guilt and shame can set in when you say you're going to do it, and me, when I said I was going to do it, and then I wasn't doing it. Because it does take time to practice. We got so much practice in doing it the other way, right? So it is not going to happen overnight in some cases. Some people have enough mental and physical toughness and strength where they can say, "Hey, I'm quitting smoking," and they never pick up another cigarette, right? But for you all that are here today, more than likely, it's been ingrained in you culturally, probably spiritually, right? Emotionally. And we're in a rhythm and a season of figuring out that we need sacred disruption, right? Like, no, because Maintaining the status quo is what got you here in the first place. So something radical has to happen. That's why it requires a radical decision, right? You're going against the grain. You're being disruptive. Self-love care equals self-love plus self-care in practice. Any thoughts here?
I had to write it down. Practice over performance.
All day.
And I was just going to chime in that what you said about conditioning, basically,
Mhm.
spiritual, culture, all those. I remember being in Sunday school and learning that joy was Jesus, others than you. So I'm rewriting that script myself. So,
See?
and it sounds like even saying it out loud now, I'm like, oh God, did somebody hear me?
Right. Right. This makes me sad.
Yeah.
This really makes me sad. I'm going to put a sad emoji on there if you don't mind. I just wanted to tell you first and not for you to feel like it's towards you. It's towards the fact that someone put that upon you. Oh Lord, girl, I'm almost triggered by that because I grew up in a Pentecostal environment. My grandmother was Pentecostal, and everything was like you're damned to hell. That's what it felt like to me. I didn't even know that Jesus, the story of Jesus and all of that, even though we would go to church practically 2 or 3 times a week and be there all doggone day. And um, I did not know the story that Jesus died on the cross so that I could be saved till I was in my 40s. Because when I got grown, I was not trying to be in nobody's church. And I was married at 16. So I got married so I could get
Same.
out. Yes, Jennifer? You said same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
was 2 years later on the marriage, but other part same. I was 18 for the first one.
Yeah, it's like set me free. And then you go running into something that you're not ready for because you're running away from something else, you know? If that's true for you, that's true for me. Natasha, I see your face. Anything to share?
Um, no, it's just um, I was religion is an interesting topic. I okay, to be honest, I don't know. It's kind of a sensitive subject, but since we're in a private circle, I because I didn't grow up. I'm not from here, right? I didn't grow up in like a lot of my friends here in the United States grew up in some kind of church, and especially for women, I hear so many stories of I don't know. It's that makes me think that thanks goodness I grew up somewhere else. But
Absolutely. And I love what you've shared with me in the past around how you grew up. And please share it in the circle because women need to hear that it doesn't have to be this way.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't indoctrinated or conditioned in another way, right? Because we all grew up in patriarchy of one type or another. Um, for me, I wanted to talk about performance. For us, the societies that I come from, or I have like this very similar to like Chinese cultures as well. There's several places in the world where this is very strong. Is performance for us as we grow up as children. A lot of times, well, we mo most of us, especially my generation, learned that love is conditional, and it's
Mhm.
conditional on its on performance, right? You have to perform well at school, you have to perform well academically. If you're in sports, you have to perform, right? So Jennifer mentioned earlier, right, about joy. I think as I grew up and as a adult, I came to this realization on my own. For me, joy is the breath of life. Like joy is kind of the center, the center focal point of why I'm here. Joy is like the thing, and then that was I had to come up with this. I had to discover this realization on my own through struggle and being unsatisfied with what I was given or the knowledge that I or beliefs that I grew up with and
Right.
carried through my life. And when I was growing, nothing was about joy. It was about, making someone's happy or performance, good results, competition, being better from, than anybody else. And it takes a lifetime to unlearn it, right? And the only way to do it is through practice because it's not intellectual. It's not something that you can read in a book and be like, oh, my externalized or my internalized harmful beliefs are gone now. Right, I'm all good. It doesn't work this way. It takes years and years and years to first realize what those beliefs are and then years and years and years of guided practice to undo them, right? And hopefully, right, at some point get into that place of peace. Yeah, that's
And I love seeing it unfold for you. I love seeing it unfold for you. We've had a long journey and your future is so bright. It really is. It
thank you.
really,
I'm
really
really thankful that I've been able to witness your journey, and I'm really thankful to have you as a witness of mine.
get excited for us women. Hey, it's time. It's our time. So, self-love care is where it all begins. It's the doorway into your get your shit together journey. Y'all know I'm about that life. And it's where everything begins shifting. Y'all ready for the ride? So, as you know, I love to talk my shit, and self love care is the first part of that. The other parts of that are healing, identity, and time. So, today we sit only in the first step where everything begins shifting. When you see that, does anything come up for you around um, where we're going and how that journey, do you kind of can you see the correlation? Any thoughts? I'm just going to take a peek. Of some, I had it where I could see y'all, and then all of a sudden it went away where I had to do it separate. So I
Yeah.
did.
While you're doing that, I'll just say real quick. When I see healing, I feel like I have a project manager mindset, right? And like for me, or like when you draw like a business process diagram, it's everything is sequential, right? Step one,
Mm-hmm.
step two, step three. And this is something that I'm unlearning as well because when I see bullet points like this, right, my brain automatically says, okay, self-love care, start date, end date, right? Healing, start date, end date. Blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to highlight and Celine confirm, like you just let me know if that's not like so for me, I have to remind myself that a lot of this, like for example, healing, it's not really something that will have a start date and end date, right? And then we move on to the next deliverable, quote unquote, which would be it's I'm understanding that all of those components are kind of intertwined. Like I'm envisioning like yin and yang, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
yin just two components, but here we have four. But it's something that exists in synergy and not necessarily in a like a linear time frame. Um, yeah,
And absolutely. And that's part of the belief about performance too, right? Like certain things have to happen in a particular order so that you arrive to the final destination and the completion. and it really is a strengthening and a merge of them all. And we're going to get to it. Let me see where it is in my slide now, and I'll show you what that looks like as a
I was going to let you know I have to get back to work, but I'm glad I got to join for a little while and I'll watch the replay for sure.
yeah, please, because I want you to see um what those equal. And so we'll get to that.
It was nice meeting you, Jennifer.
Yeah. You too, Natalia?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay, okay. Bye.
Take good care. Love that. Yeah. And so we'll talk about all of those and what they combined mean.
Mhm.
For now, I want to talk about who we truly are. As you know, Ms. Denise is my formal name for who I serve. And then when I'm calling her in, she is Miss I Got Time for Everybody Except Myself. Because we know that when we hear that, right? And so let me know if any of these resonate for you. She's capable, brilliant, high functioning, overgiving, exhausted, self sacrificing, deeply loving, spread thin, tired of being tired, ready for something different.
Tired of being tired. That's good.
Yeah, me too. I'm like all of them, right?
Yeah.
And inside her are seven distinct faces, seven patterns she slips into depending on what's happening in her life. You'll recognize yourself in one or several. Let me see. I think this is a part that may not have gotten in the slide. Okay, yep, didn't get in the slide yet. So we'll come back. I'm going to switch over to just my formal notes because they're in another deck, but I didn't like I didn't like where it was going and I didn't have enough time to fix it. So give me a little grace on that. Okay. So, we're going to talk about those seven faces. Let me stop and then pick a new share. Let's see if it lets me. Last time I tried to do it, it acted funny. I was like, how you gonna act like that? Okay, here we go. The first is high achieving. Her pattern is she performs, exceeds expectation, carries everything. And let me know when I get on your street.
Okay.
If anything sounds familiar. Her pain is burnt out emotionally and mentally. Can I make this wider? Can you see the screen okay?
Uh-huh, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, everything is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, everything.
And her truth, your worth isn't tied to output. That's the truth.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I have that already. I mean, I I internalized this truth.
I love it. Where are you performing instead of being present? Is this still a practice?
You know, when it started coming up for me again, so I kind of fixed it from, just like, I don't know, from work environment type of how I show up at work. So
Mm-hmm.
I had years of practicing that truth, right?
Yeah.
Um, but when it started came just kind of going back to how it's important, like for me, it's important to realize that some of those things, some of those patterns have been put in me, like, I don't know, I'm 42 years old, right? Like maybe 42 years ago. And it doesn't, they don't go away just by like that. So for the longest time, I thought, okay, so, yes, I internalized the truth that my worth isn't tied to output
Mm-hmm.
until that new experience that I shared that, I became a part of this group, Lady Styling, right, Afro-Cuban, and it's dance, right? So a lot of it is performative by definition. But again, I came to the class, or I seek out those experiences for practice and for joy, right? Joy first, right? And obviously practice to
Yeah.
feel joyful. So I had to, because I was put in like a very literal context of performing, right? Like yesterday, right? We were in makeup, we were, wearing our costumes, and we were exactly doing what the word says, right? It's a performance with
Mhm.
audience and recordings, things like that. And I felt like a little pinch, right?
Mm.
Where something inside me tried to flip back into, because performance for me, performing when I'm in the performing mindset is not joyful. Like I can feel in my body that the joy part just gets dried up
Right.
instantly. It just evaporates, poof, and gets replaced by anxiety, right? And then disconnection, right? There's something that you spoke about earlier when instead of saying I and bringing the story to myself, right? I start thinking about, so I start putting myself, right? Like, okay, so how do we look? Do we look good? Do I look good? Right? Do people enjoy it? Right? So puts in a space that just is not very helpful. But anyways, I felt that pinch, and then I was able to catch it, which is a win, right? I put it
Yeah.
in my win list. I was able to catch it because I'm accustomed now to being tuned in into my body, and I realized that my body wasn't feeling
Mm-hmm.
right how I would like joyful, and then I caught it, and then I pulled myself
Right.
from the performance mindset based into the practice joy. Like, hey, I'm here to be joyful, to practice what I love to practice. So
Yeah.
that's kind of, but it was interesting how it popped up because I thought that was kind of a done deal for me, but
Mm-hmm. Well, and congratulations on the awareness and the radical decision to make it joy for you. That practice that you had right there was just beautiful. Honoring that is in itself is sacred disruption, girl.
sacred disruption.
Yes. So we are at the hour mark. I want
Mhm.
to check in. Are you good to continue? I know Jennifer had to go because she's working.
I'm good to continue. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Very good. And so the second is transitioning Denise, right? You might be leaving a role, a relationship, or a season.
Mhm.
And this one, and we talked about that start in that
Yeah,
group.
that's my street right here.
Hopefully that was coming.
Yep, 100%.
And so like you mentioned, you're in your 40s. There are so many transitions that
There's
happen,
so many.
right? And so uncertainty here can set in around your identity, the next steps. Some can get stuck in the thing, right? And the truth is, transition equals alignment, not failure. I am a firm believer that your spirit and your God is always operating on your behalf to get you to the joy, to get you to the mission and the vision and the dreams and the goals that you hold that are sacred to you because they're there with you. They already know, right? So there something is going to store in your body or in your soul that it's like, something's got to give, something's got to change. Sometimes for the good, sometimes it's not so good and it's painful or it can feel detrimental and alter the path completely. That's what happened to me. Sometimes it can be easy and light. And it's like, oh, okay.
Mm.
Yes, I'm coming into the light and away from the darkness, you know? What chapter are you afraid to let close? Is there one?
What chapter? Are we gonna go through? Oh, for transition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, the work chapter, right? The income, right? The cash flow chapter. Um, it's it's hella scary. It's it's very scary because my brain, even though I have all the tools and I've practiced, right, independent work, there's still a big there's still a I don't know how big it is now, but there's still something that tells me, oh, um, W2 is safe. Oh, W2, right? It's just kind of employee versus a business owner mindset. So yeah, there's still quite a bit of fear.
Mm-hmm. And that's perfectly healthy.
Hmm. Yeah, back to the practice, right? Because I've practiced being an employee I started working when I was 17,
Mm.
right? I'm 42, so how many years is that?
Let's do the math.
Let's do the math.
Oh Lord. I had
42 minus
I had
17.
another number in there first and it added like no, not that. A little over
Mm.
that. 25 years.
Right. Yeah, so I practiced being an employee uh, 25 years. So again, I think it's very critical that definition that you separated between action into practice because for someone who practiced who was just using me as an example, right? 25 years being an employee, now pivoting into business ownership and consultancy, right? The actions seem very straightforward. Be like, okay, so those are the actions. Here's a plan. However, the bigger context here
Mhm.
is practice again, right? And when you make practice the big kind of when you start with the practice versus action, I feel like you have a more realistic picture of what the person, like what transition actually entails.
I love that. I love that you recognize that. And it also means you're in your infancy. You're not mature in that
Hmm.
yet. You're not the expert. You haven't mastered it yet. And whatever that those definitions and terms mean to you, and it's okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah. It puts it in a very practical, like in a very practical light. And you know me, right? It's just like I like physical movement, right? And dancing is one of the ways I manifest in, right? So when it comes to learning a new dance, right, or a new style,
Yes.
the body, right? You can see like we would be dancing. I would be dancing next to the teacher who is professional dancer, who's I mean, it's in her blood, right? She grew up in that dance culture, and her body moves very different from how my body moves, right?
Hmm.
And then realize just to be able to learn that, right? It's not only the action, it's years, it's practice, it's years of practice. So I'm working really hard to connect, right, those dots because it's the same principle, learning the practice when it comes to self-care, self-love, right? Transitioning from one state to another, practicing being someone that you haven't been before.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel the practice of that, I call it getting to know yourself so that you can become yourself and then be yourself. So for your beginning and the end of that. That's kind of the journey, right? You got to get to know yourself, and then you're in the transition of becoming yourself, that in between state, and then
Mm-hmm.
fully being yourself.
And you know what's also interesting? That again, it's not a linear, right? It's not a project in a sense that it's
Not
a
the true
continuous.
definition of a project, right?
Yeah, it's a continuous. You know what's interesting? Like when we talk about it, when I'm raising my daughter, right?
Mhm.
I observe throughout this 11 years of being a mother that, when they're a baby, right? You learn, like, you get to know them, right? And their things and like what they like, what they don't like, why do they cry, right? You learn it's like, okay, I got it, right? And then they change, they transition into something else, right? So growing up is always a transition, right? And as a parent, you experience this because, parenting is part of like knowing who you parent, knowing your child.
Right.
And it's interesting how, as mothers, we 100% recognize it for our children, how it always changes and you have to always adjust. And now she's going to be a teenager soon. So I have to relearn, right? She's going to be a new person again. I have to relearn those things and adjust. And as mothers, we recognize that. But for some reason, when it comes to our own growth and
Yep.
like learning us and readjusting to us, it's like a blind spot, right? It's always like we don't exist.
Yeah.
And being able to flip it and being like, oh, I exist, right? I'm here, I matter. And to be able to apply, because we do have the skill set, we do it for other people every day.
Yes. Every day.
And just, right, just applying it, directing it at ourselves versus everybody else. I think it's really it blows my mind, right? When you start thinking about those things.
Absolutely. And I started realizing there's this book that I'm looking for, and I thought I put it in the community. I'll put it in the resource section. Um, just that. I was like, I really want to get to know myself. There's this book that I have. It's 3,000 questions about me. And it asks yourself questions. Let me see if I can find it. I don't remember who the author is. I'm not at home, so I don't recall it. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so it's still in print. Let me show you what that book looks like. And it's got a ton. Now, this one says it's at Target. I'm not an advocate for Target. Hopefully, you can find it somewhere other than Target. But let me share my screen. You can see. But this is a good way
My
to,
signature robe.
I know. I love your robe. I love the hood. This is the book. And I just pick it up from time to time and start writing in it.
Hmm.
I don't know if they show how much of it they show. So it just has all 3,000 questions in there, and I write in the pages because eventually I'm going to leave it for my grandchildren. I think it's a good opportunity also. Um, as I just thought about this, I have the YouTube channel. It's a good opportunity where I can just take a question and answer the question live and then have it out there in the universe, right? And it's all
Yeah.
about me, kind of my own video kind of diary. So that'll be something that I'll do at some point. But
Hey, Selena, some point and some day doesn't exist. Remember, we looked at the calendar and it's not there.
let me fill that in right now.
I'm just saying.
We're starting
I
next.
loved it. I love that on your slide. You're like, you know what? Someday. doesn't exist. I looked. It's not on the calendar.
I'm putting it on here. You called me out. It's on there. Next week, add a task. Next week,
I love
task.
it. I love it.
I love it too.
I just
Let's,
ordered it. I just ordered my copy.
awesome. Don't tell me you ordered it from Target.
Not from Target, no.
Ashe. Yeah, but it's a good practice, and there are a couple others, different ones. I've seen 1,000 and all that, but when I saw that 3,000, I was like, oh yeah, that's going deep. Let's get it.
That's a good one.
Some of them give you some things to think about, and so the links are going to be here too.
Mm-hmm. Sacred
They're
reading. Okay.
they're in the classroom under sacred resources, and we've got a lot of good, interesting
Yeah,
things.
Loving What Is was such a gosh, it was one of those books that came exactly when I needed it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I love that. Now, speaking of that, just a quick pause in here since
Hmm.
we're here. We also have this post when you need support, prayer requests, anything like that. We've had the Circle of Love post. So you can come out here, share your wins, get support, um, whatever that needs to look like for you.
Okay. And then the photos, remember I was telling you about the photos. Where would I post those? Like what would be a good place?
Oh, you would come in the community
Hmm.
and you would just go to write something.
Write something. Okay. Like
Yep.
a whole post. Okay.
And you can add the attachment to the post. You would put the category in that you want it to be in,
Hmm.
whatever resonates with you.
Identity probably.
Yep. Or reflections and yeah, share away. Now you're
Okay.
gonna see more than me. Like you can't send the email to the members and then
Right.
give a title that you want to share, but absolutely, so we can celebrate you.
Okay.
Love that. Awesome. Okay. Let's go to back to our lovely slide for this commercial break. I think my bladder's gonna want to break here in a moment. Okay, we're on this slide. Okay. Yeah.
If you want, you can pull up the next one and I'll read through this and you can take a bio break.
Okay. I appreciate that. So next up is we'll do the next two.
Entrepreneur Denise. Uh-huh.
Is this
Okay.
all of her? Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Yep.
Three,
So
four. Okay.
Enterprise Denise. I'll be right back. Thank you. So, does entrepreneur Denise resonate?
Oh
She's
yeah. Yeah,
she's
100%.
strong, stalled,
Oh
self-sabotage.
yeah. I was like, did Selena write this from me? Was I the inspiration for this one?
Well, technically, Ms. Denise is probably me. Little known fact.
Oh, makes me feel better.
However, I see her in so many of us, right? I meet her on the street. I practically meet Ms. Denise every single day. And when
Yeah,
I'm out in the world or on community calls and different communities I'm in, I was like, oh, I spot her. I see you, girl. I see,
see.
you know, fear of visibility, fear of success. Your business grows at the pace that you do. That's why self-love care is so important, right? Because you are your business. You're the blueprint. If you're the founder, you're it.
Yeah.
You're all of it. It's
Oh,
you. It's your baby. It's all of the things. And it is going to push you to the best version of you or take you out, right? Because it requires more of you, just like a child. A business is just like birthing a baby, right? Like you're birthing something new, it's in its infancy, it needs a lot of care and attention and nurturing. And what does that look like, right? The level of intention that you are willing to set and the radical choices and decisions that you make, right, are going to get you there. That's why the SHIT framework is the foundation of all of that, right? And we've talked about it. It's just not linear. It is it's intertwined. It's all the things to get you where you need to be. It's the emotional, mental, physical, spiritual capacity. And what it really does is it helps you create your capacity for that. The outcome of it all is clarity, confidence, capacity for all that you desire. It helps create all of the freedoms that you desire. So the reflection around the entrepreneur is, where are you shrinking inside your own vision? I'm going to replace that word because I believe sometimes it's disappearing versus shrinking.
Yeah. One, like, remember how you brought up guilt and shame earlier? I forget in which context.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
Because
feel, I don't know, I just after there's a lot of shame attached for me for like not landing a client, right?
hmm,
I feel like I've been visible, I've been, doing the things and then not having a client, right? Because remember our conversations like, I don't know, a year ago, right? About the PMO as a service and the price tag there, and I only need like three, right? It's not even so for me, right? Something that started from the place of like, oh my excitement,
mm-hmm.
it actually became like a cage.
I could see that. I could see clearly that. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, so um yeah.
And we can talk about that in a different context. You've got your clarity strategy session coming up. The offer's still out there if you want to get a second one because we're meeting in January. And we can go deeper into what that looks like and what's happening for you now, right? So don't forget to schedule. You've got until we're gonna I'm extending it a little bit because we do have that second cohort. So you've got until January 8th to schedule your first one. Well, both of them actually, if you decide to grab
I
them.
actually thought that this call was that call, but this call is different from, so there's another type of a session, right?
There's two cohorts. They're exactly the same. The real what I just decided on Saturday
Hmm.
that the real offer is a 2-hour strategy session. This
Hmm.
is the bonus,
Hmm.
right? And so because I really want you all to set yourselves up for success, right? And my rate, right, sometimes is out of reach for most. And I wanted to provide my services myself to really help you deep dive and get to your next step. So that's the real benefit of grabbing two, right? Because you can get 4 hours, 2 hours on the
Hmm. So where do I go to schedule that other call? Is it the
it's
link that?
it's in the emails that you would have received, the initial confirmation email,
Hmm.
because it's a bonus call. It doesn't have the price attached to it, right? Comes with this.
Ah, okay, okay. Okay, so I'll just click on that. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's
And
called Black.
you can also go in your resource toolkit. You
Okay,
can
on
go to your
schools.
resource toolkit.
Okay.
Does it feel like you have all those and know where all those are?
So let me pull up the email because I have for
And
this call.
you can also go in the school community in the Sacred Circle reset room where all the
Mhm.
resources now, and you'll see Sacred Resource Toolkit.
Toolkit. Okay, so I'm looking at the invitation, right, from my calendar for today's session. And it says sacred reset, permission, sleep, confirmed. And then in the body,
Go way down to the bottom. It's going to be
yeah, it says, here's your link to schedule your bonus sacred clarity call. That's the one, right?
that's the one.
Okay, okay, yeah, I have it. Mhm.
Mhm. That is the one.
That's the one. Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Side hustle Denise.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that. This is not really um dream needs protected. I make sure I have time for all my dreams.
I love that for you. And for those that join and listen in later, you may have no structure, no capacity, no boundaries. And the truth is, your dream needs protected space. You've got to make that time. Early on, we had to do that, right, Natasha? Like
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for
schedule your,
me,
mm-hmm,
yeah, for me, the best tool to make it happen for me is a calendar, right? If it's not scheduled, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen. And what it kills, well, it just um, it achieves, it provides like value on both sides. It creates space for things that it creates space for dreams,
yeah,
right? But it also creates a boundary for anything else that might be trying to interfere, right? So
great.
it helps with both.
And for side hustle, Denise, when you're out there, and if you're listening to this information, the goal is to at least carve out 10 hours in your week to work on your business. And I use the term side hustle because that's what's the common terminology, but it doesn't have to be a side hustle. It could be your investor. It could be your dreams to reality. That's what I call my stuff. My dreams to reality, taking my dreams and then making them a reality. So know that it's what's true for you because I don't believe in hustling either
Yeah.
and the connotation, right,
Hmm.
of the hustling because it
Yeah.
doesn't always have to be a hustle or a grind, you know, all of that. That's again maintaining the status quo, and that's what got you there. So figure out what that term looks like for you. Um, and one of the ways is as a practice that you can do if this is you is do a time study. Just get out a notebook, piece of paper, decide for a day or that entire week. Ideally, you track it for 2 weeks. However, I know how your time is, but just write down in a day everything that you've done and how much time you spent doing it. And if you can, at least for the week. And so you can start to see where those energy thieves are.
Yeah.
And that will help you understand where you're trading your time for money, right? Um, and I would even go so far as to look at what your hourly rate is potentially if that's the way that it would make sense for you. Take what you currently earn and put an hourly rate to it. And one of the ways that you can buy your time back is if it is a task that you can have someone else do that is less than your hourly rate, it might be beneficial to you to buy back your time and have someone else do it. That way, You have time. So like laundry, for example. I don't like doing laundry. I used to have someone come pick it up and go do my laundry. It was costing me like $10 a load or something. It was very inexpensive when you really start doing the math and looking and asking yourself who, not necessarily always how. When there's a task at hand, who could do this task quicker and better because maybe that's what they enjoy. And then you're making an exchange, right? And that's another way of generating the energy and the money um, exchange and the resources to help you kind of fully be where you want to be. That's part of your support and your self-love care in doing that as well. So what would shift if you committed sacred time to your dream, right? Think about that. What would shift? You would find that you would get there sooner rather than later because now you're in a practice of it, you're putting momentum behind it and your intention, you're getting radical and in your decision making, you've got information now, you've got data. A lot of folks need that data that you can leverage to say, so you can look at it monetarily, or you can look at it in time. Now, time is a non-renewable resource.
Yeah.
Time keeps on ticking, ticking into the future. So you've got to claim your time. Your time. And I don't say reclaim because it's gone. But you can decide now and make that radical decision that I'm claiming my time. Silent Denise. Woo. I was in this space for a number of years, and you had a little bit of a front seat to it, Natasha, and you probably didn't even know it.
Hmm.
So silent Denise doesn't ask herself what she wants. Mm-mm. The pain is numbness, resentment, disconnect,
Hmm.
and the disconnect is from you, not everyone else, because you're in there doing everything for
Right.
everything. You're disconnected from yourself. I know her intimately. You didn't disappear. You're disconnected. You disconnected from yourself. You don't even know who you are at all. When I was married, my name was Selina Whitmore. I didn't know her. I couldn't identify to her. And I recall I had been following this couples ministry, and to this day I still swear it said living God's priorities. And they always say it says living our priorities. But when I needed it, it reflected back to me living God's priorities. And I was following them. And then I realized I was living in Vegas and I realized they were right there in Vegas, their church. And I was drawn once I found out to go there. And when I went up to introduce myself, it was a husband and wife. I had no idea that this was going to come out of my mouth. I thought I was just going to say, hi, I'm Selena, yada, the typical. When I opened my mouth, I said to her, Pastor Timberly and Pastor Andre, I said, I don't know who I am. I was so numb and broken, and they prayed for me. It felt like I was like I always told them, being there was like, felt like heaven on earth, because it was such an eclectic, you wouldn't expect kind of group, small but mighty. And they prayed for me and all of the things. And they were with me through the dark shadows of not knowing who I was and coming back to myself and all of that. That community supported me so hard and lovingly and tenderly and nurturing and all of the things. So grateful for that. So if you whispered your truth today, what would it say? Because sometimes it starts as a whisper or a prayer, and then your voice starts to get louder the more that you allow yourself to speak your truth. The overgiving healer, caregiver Denise, that is my street today. I naturally show up like this. I always have, right? Holds everyone up. I've been doing it for 45 years. And when became disconnected, this is what brought me here to DisruptHer today. This, Denise. The broken, collapsing inside, craving rest. And another truth moment story that happened. I was caregiving for my ex-husband who I was in the middle of divorcing. And he had a, a medical health crisis. And I just dropped everything, right? And just went full on. I got all the tools. I went in my toolkit. I had already been on my vegan and health journey and like all of the, I knew everything, how to save someone's life, right? Plant-based and resurrect them from the dead, in addition to the doctors. And it just so happened we got a doctor that was a Black woman that also understood the assignment around um, alternative medicines to help support his health and care. And I remember calling her one day because it was just getting so heavy, and I don't even know why I called her, to be honest. And I was saying what was happening and all these things. And the first thing she said to me was, "You know why they tell you on the airplane to put the mask on yourself first?" I was flabbergasted. I was shook. My whole insides shook. Because I thought she was going to tell me something to tell him to stop doing this and that because the shit was crazy. And she pointed me inward. I was I was numb to say the least and shooketh. So you cannot save others while abandoning yourself. It just does not work that way. You are the most valuable thing to you. And losing and becoming disconnected from yourself is the loneliest, darkest, painful, scariest, depression, anxiety induced space. Because there is nothing, no light. It feels very dark and sad. This is in my has been my experience. So where are you giving from depletion instead of devotion? Right? The devotion comes from yourself first and to yourself first. And then you are able to give it out of your overflow. Yeah, this one hits. And so, and I will say with this too, you'll develop practices that help with this. This is where self-love care was born. In recognizing that I needed both. And this is what I'm actively practicing now that I am a caregiver with my mother. So a lot of practices have come out of that. And I'll share one quick one is I believe in harmony. Most the culture talks about balance. Balance, I think, is a falsehood because balance would have you believe that things are equal. But in harmony, it's what the rhythm and the pace needs to look like for you, right? And so with that, what I have decided that is harmony for me and to help me stay and honor my self-love care for anything that I do for someone else, I must. do something for myself, right? Took my mother to the grocery store. I hate going to the grocery stores, hate it. But she needs now support because she gets dizzy, right? And so her equilibrium's off because she had a critical health condition as well, the episode that happened. And so I might have to jump at the moment's notice or anything to like take her where she needs to be. So if I do that, then I spend intentional time or something doing something that I need for me or that I want so that I don't get out of harmony with myself. So I do that as a practice daily. And I can tell when I'm out of alignment on that practice and that agreement that I made with myself. Now let's be clear. Whenever whenever you make an agreement with yourself, nobody knows unless you tell them. And this is where guilt and shame can set in, right? The guilt and shame comes because of your belief and what you've internalized and the fact that you haven't honored it or you keep abandoning it. You keep lying to yourself. But the more that you tell yourself the truth, the more that you honor yourself, healing takes place. The practice and the strengthening of the rhythms and the systems that you put in place happen. This is where like total awakening, and they use the term rise, but you're awakening, right? This is where you really start to awaken and crack open and see yourself and choose yourself with intention, right? So that leads us to the spiritually awakening, Denise. This this is also another transition, right? This isn't a transition where you're starting to question every doggone thing, right? What is truth? You're hearing your inner voice. You're starting to practice following it and listening to it and seeing what's happening when you do it. And the voice is getting louder and not quiet before because you stuffed it down, right? You're feeling ungrounded, and there are emotional shifts, there's mental shifts, there's physical shifts, more than likely because there are practices that you've been doing that don't honor you and you don't want to do that anymore. Some of that looks like you're paying attention to what you're putting into your mouth. You're paying attention to what's going into your ear gates. So one of the practices for me that started with this, there was so much talking always going on in the household. I only listen to if and when I can, instrumental music. I don't need to hear the words of anybody else. I just need the sounds, that vibrational sound. I don't play music in the car. I was driving my mother, and she's like, "Is your radio broke?" I said, "No." She said, "You never have it on." I was wondering. I thought maybe it was broke. No, with intention. It's not on because I like the silence. Sometimes driving in the car is the buffer, right? The transition period from leaving work or an appointment or something that was, requiring performance or doing, right? And just driving in the car in silence for me is peaceful. It's very peaceful. So those are some other, things to maybe consider potentially when you need to go from chaos to a transition point to self-love care as well. That could be the switch to help transition you to focus inward for you. I love this. You're smiling. What any thoughts there? What's coming up?
I love it. Yes, I can relate to everything that you just said. I was like, yes, ma'am.
And so, yeah, awakening, the clarity becomes louder and louder and louder, and you begin to practice more and you're becoming her. This
Hmm.
is this is the becoming. right?
Yeah, the becoming, yes. And I just remember I was looking through my books yesterday in the bookshelf, yes, last night, and I have a book by Michelle Obama, Becoming. I
Yep.
don't, yeah, it's kind of brought up. So I think that this how what do you call those, 7-6 the ways Denise shows up?
Oh, the seven faces,
Seven faces,
aces,
yes.
Persians.
I think um s- out of this all seven faces, for me, the spiritual awakening, Denise, is like the one that you just can't fucking ignore. When she shows up, there is that's another thing that's in the face where was silence or disconnect, right? There's some of those faces where you can disappear or be stagnant or avoidant. For me
Mm,
personally, the spiritual awakening one, there is no like there's no way to shut her up, right? Because once that awakening starts happening, it's happening, right?
she's been stifled for so long. It is her time.
hmm
Your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and then the part hearing her inner voice again, feeling yeah, so the pain, feeling ungrounded, emotional shifts, and that's inevitable, right? It's kind of going back, like in my case, as like when I describe it in the words that I have,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
on unlearning, right, the harmful beliefs or things that are not true, learning to understand what's true for me, right, and unlearning things that are not true. That totally, like, part of like the reality is that it's not comfortable. It's very uncomfortable, right? So it comes with feeling ungrounded, emotional shifts, and it could be really scary. It could be really scary. But again, this is I like I have a very complicated relationship with like ocean. I love the ocean and
Yes.
I love water, but I'm also very afraid of it. And but I love sort of the analogy of surfing, right? You can fight the waves. The waves of the ocean, they just exist and they're so powerful. They're just gonna happen to you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing how to ride the wave is an amazing skill. So for like in my case, spiritual awakening, learning how to ride the wave, right, and follow, like trust in the process and trust the transition,
Yes.
and allowing myself to because one thing that can happen is I go through a transition and becomes scary. You're like, oh my gosh, right? So in that moment you can, I can like get stuck, right? Because of the fear
Yeah.
instead of easing through that and like coming out on on the other end, right? There's the risk of just being stuck because of, in my case, it's always the fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it could be scary, and yeah. But for me, that spiritual awakening phase is kind of one that pretty much drives probably the rest of them, right? Because as I'm spiritually awakening, then I grow, I expand, right? The way I show up in the world changes. That feeds into, for example, like entrepreneurial Denise or other faces that we discussed, right? So to me, that's sort of like a mothership.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I would agree with you on that from my perspective as well. And when there was a thought, so I'll deal with the fear one first. Fear, have you ever heard of false evidence appearing real? It's an
No.
acronym for fear. And with fear, we want because you want to honor that that's your truth. And then this is where we want to have confidence over fear because we're going to do it anyway. Be courageous over fear. You're doing it anyway because sacred disruption. You're disrupting the pattern of that. and you're practicing. And so what you want to do is tell yourself, yeah, I hear you, but I'm also this, and I'm also this, and I'm also that, and I also got it, because your mind believes what you tell it. So we focus on what we do want and not what we don't want. So if we don't want fear, what are some other language that you can use in place of fear?
Another way to name that sensation, or the name, another way to name the experience, or
Another way to reframe it so that when it comes up, you're replacing it with the thing that you want.
mm,
Because fear, we know fear is there, we know that fear is evident, but do we want to keep focusing on fear? Because fear wants you to keep focusing on fear.
oh yeah.
But is that what you want? So when the fear comes up, that's a trigger to say, so for example, I'll give you an example. I used to pray to break the spirit of control, because all these things are spirit. There's a spirit of fear. So I was praying to break the spirit of control. And as I started praying in my prayer closet slash war closet, depending on what was going on, I began to speak out loud in my prayers. And as I was praying to break the spirit of control, I was like, wait a minute. I realized that I was praying for what I didn't want. In that instant, when I heard my voice, I was like, hold on. I was like, what is the opposite of control? And in that moment, it came to me. It's acceptance. I started praying for the spirit of acceptance. And what came to me was that, what's that prayer? Pray for, accept the things that I get, the serenity prayer, and the real one, not just the commercialized one, but there's a real serenity prayer. I have to go look it up. And I put that on the wall in my war room. And I would pray that every chance I got, because that was what I really wanted. I wanted to break that spirit of control, that what that spirit had over me. And it instantly was broken. Instantly. Because I made a radical decision that I'm going to accept, that I'm breaking that. If I get to decide when it's broken, right? And it was just a beautiful moment of being with myself and my spirit, and coming together in this sacred merge of agreement of what is for me. And those things happen inward. They happen with the support of community and care, to see you and witness you have these level of conversations and truths, so that you can be witnessed and honored, and then be in a safe enough environment for you to be yourself, for you to flourish, for you to practice, right? Because sometimes when we're just talking to ourselves, everything sounds gravy. Hmm. But when you say it out loud, and then you've got a mirror, someone to reflect back to you, I'm a sacred mirror. It's like, oh, and that's what we're doing here, right? That's what this is all about. To allow you to see your reflection, to witness you, to honor you, to hold space for you in that. So what truth is waking up inside of you? And that's a reflection to take with you. Let's see where we're going. And so, as we speak on all of this, this is the real cheat code for life. Again, a term that did not exist before I created it. Let me get you the real definition because I do believe I do have this one on a slide. And it's mental wealth. I want to give you the real definition. But the equation is self-love care plus healing plus identity plus time equal mental wealth. So one momento. Let me go get her. This is what I wanted to share with. See, I got a lot of meat here. Let's see. Here is mental wealth. Okay. Get that. Thank you for bearing with me in my technical challenges. Okay. This is Canva. Okay, there it is. Okay. Mental wealth.
Mm-hmm.
It is self-love care plus healing plus identity plus time. We're gonna talk about all of that throughout the rest of the week. And when I say talk about it, there is content that is available for you. We only have the 2 live sessions, just to be clear. And so mental wealth is freedom without limits. Mental wealth is the energy, clarity, and emotional freedom to create, receive, and sustain abundance on your terms. Because real wealth is the freedom to think, dream, and build without limits. That's where we're going. This is what creates sovereignty. Any thoughts around that?
Well, first of all, I love the concept mental wealth. And it's so brilliant because, like, how many times have I read, seen, used mental health, right? Mental health, mental health. And I love the pivot here, right? I just this makes me so happy because I was like, I've never seen it. Like I've never, right? We talk about abundance mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is for me, right? For you just like thinking through this and be like, mental wealth. I was like, of course, right?
Now, mental health is a portion of that, right? When we
Yeah,
get
100%, right?
to
But
healing it. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but again, just based to the words and how they matter and how it matters, like what we, well, first, right, kind of going back to like what's coming into your ears, what's coming out of your mouth, what you allow in and out, right? Mental health already kind of assumes that something is broken, right? And kind of going back to that burnout state, like, hey, are you only remembering about self-love, self-care when something like when you break, right?
Right.
Right. So that's kind of well, mental health comes in, right? Like someone is already burned out, right? But mental wealth is just, I feel like it just like tosses all of the, preconceived notions and like the that context where we traditionally come to those discussions, right? And be like, no, we are about right, the energy, clarity, emotional freedom to create, receive, and sustain abundance. Um, I love it. Like this is just when I saw mental wealth when you first mentioned it in your slides, I was like, oh my God, of course, of course. Like this is just radiates abundance to me.
I love this. And this is my lived truth. This is what I know to be true for me. And I'm compelled to share it with the women that I serve that have gone through what I've gone through, right? The Miss I got time for everybody except myself. Th- this is because sometimes it's not, I believe so much happens in the intangible. And it's not always about the financial gain, which is very important to help us live the life that we want to live in some
Hmm.
cases. Well, I don't have financial wealth, but you better believe I'm getting mental wealth. I am practicing mental wealth every day. I've been able to travel the world this year, my year of yes, and I haven't needed a lot of money to do that, you know? You know, when when I made the decision to say yes to me, the things that I have desired have lined up. I got to go to Bali. The price that I paid for Bali to for my flight and to have that 10-day experience was under $1,500. Yeah, because someone else could not go. They had already paid a huge portion of it. And I for the experience itself, it was $440. The bulk of that was for my flight because it was so close.
Right.
But it just showed up on Facebook. A friend of mine, one of my coach sisters, she's like, "Is anybody available to go to Bali between October 2nd through the 8th?" I said, "Well, I'll go to Bali. Like, let me see what this is about. Be curious, remain curious." Um, Curiosity is like practice, right? Because you never know what could happen. And then it's the sacred opportunities and merging of allowing yourself to choose you and say yes to what you desire, right? And your no is what helps you get there to your yes. And so that's what happened. And so I'm in gratitude and awe, and I want to show show you how you get there, right? So I'm going to back up because I
Oh
jumped.
my God. Hold on. Let me read that sentence one more
It's
time. That
absolutely.
back to the wealth.
Take
But
take a
yes, this one.
screenshot and you're going to have it.
Yeah, because real wealth is the freedom to think, dream, and build without limits. Oh, I love it so much.
Boom, drop the mic.
I love it so much. Oh, I love it. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And borrow that, right? And so that's why it's so important. I create my own definitions for things because it does not
Right.
have to be what the world says. And absolutely borrow mine. Give me credit.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't mind
100%.
until you figure out what is true for you,
Oh, this is so good.
especially if this is closer to the truth. This is how you shift, right? The status quo. You change clothes. You take off those clothes so you can start the becoming and your identity.
Hmm. And speaking of giving credit, what's the best way, for example, if I were to post, I don't know, like a snippet, right? Like, I don't know, like a quote on Facebook, right? I would do at disrupt her coaching, right? And that would pull up your Facebook page, or is there a better way you would prefer?
You can do that, or you can do me, or you can just tell the story where it came from. You attended the sacred reset permission slip
Hmm.
cohort in December, however you want to phrase it, whatever is true for you. And yeah, you can just take the slide and repost it because it says disruptor coaching.
Hmm. And then as far as linking, so I know the schools, right, is a closed community, right? It's a private community. So
It
would
is private. It is a free community though. All
Uh-huh.
are welcome if they are in alignment with the agreements, right?
Okay, so I'm able to share a link to your
Absolutely,
school's
please.
community. Okay, and then with people, if they're interested, they can click on it and then read through the rules.
Yep,
And
yep,
okay,
yep.
okay,
Now I have to, and this is off topic, but remind me, I have to come back to you because I invited you personally, and
right.
you did not see the agreements. So I need to send you a link so you can go back through the agreements, and just tick them off.
Okay, I think I did do that. I, yeah, just send me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do what.
Yep, I know. So yeah, so let's take a step back because there's a lot of meat. We're probably not going to get through it all. So this is Miss Denise. Just want to make sure I'm not losing space in the slide. Let's wait, because we want to talk about the cost and neglect, right? We'll come back to these slides. I think it's earlier. Let me come away and come back so I get us in the right place. How much time?
Till I have about 15 minutes.
15, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, give me one moment. Go.
I love it, Selena. This is so good. This is so good. This is so good. I love it so much.
Bless you. Let me just make sure.
Mental wealth.
Mental well. Yes. Yeah, I've been having a hard time with these decks. Not to make excuses. My team has it's gone to hell in a handbasket, and so just like getting getting it done has
Mm.
created like a big strain. I think I have it here, so I'll pull it up back in the notes. Like I have the notes, it's just they didn't make it to the slide because all of the other things that pop up. So let me pull it up
And I
here.
love the notes. I don't, this is probably my own preference, but I really enjoy just white and bullet points.
Well, and I'm not opposed to that either because it keeps it simple. But sometimes people want to see it pretty.
Oh
So
yeah, 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 of course. Just my like I've always been like, hey,
all right, well this is what we're gonna do then. This is how we gonna roll it on. Let's see, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, I gave you that. Okay, this is how we gonna roll then. On the rest of the way out, for our 15.
mental wealth. I'm just
You're shooketh.
I'm shook.
That's how you how your face is what your face is saying.
I love it. I love it so much. Another thing is like it's so obvious. It's so obvious, but it was like this is like such an aha moment for me today.
I love this for you.
Mental wealth. I was like, of course. Mental wellness, right? Wellness is another thing, a word that's, is used a lot. Wellness, right? So it's really incredible how um I don't know, like overused, right? Certain things that are overused, like mental health, mental wellness. We're so like I'm so used to those things being used in like this word will 100% be used with this word, right? That my brain never even went to say mental wealth, right? I never connected this two just because the space has been taken by this other junk.
Yeah, it's a lot of noise out there.
A lot of noise. Oh gosh, this is so good. This is so good. Mental wealth. I love it. Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that because it's totally
It's a game changer, isn't it? It shifts.
it shifts and it just I feel like it made it just when I read this And like when we discuss this, and then reading your slide that goes into a little bit more detail of what that entails for you, oh, okay, that's amazing.
That's how I felt. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
It's
I gotta tell
amazing.
people. I can't like keep this to myself. And
It's amazing.
this
Mhm.
is learned experience going inward. And when you go inward and spend more time with yourself and really getting to know yourself, there are so many truths that are going to reveal itself to you that's true for you. You know, when we first started working with one another, what was true and important was agency, right?
Agency, yes.
And once you feel that you have what that is for you, it doesn't stop. Because now that I have it, now what else is true for me? Where else can I go? Because of abundance, because of
Hmm.
mental wealth, right? And that's why I don't define someone's freedom. I say create your freedom and what's true for you, because it may not be um, time freedom or financial freedom. It could be other freedoms that are intangible. And the closer you get to yourself, you start realizing that, hey, chasing the bag may not necessarily be it, right? And you realize, well, I can speak to this. I don't want to get too far off topic, but you realize with the clarity calculator system, right,
Hmm.
that your real truth is everything that's in that first column. You realized and recognized how some of the things that you desire you could have right now, and you
Yeah.
have them. I'll let you speak your truth if you want to share kind of what the outcomes of that work that we did together were. You did it in testimonial, but if you want to share what that looked like, right? Because there were so many rich things that happened for you, right? Around financial freedom and time freedom, that you are living in the now, right now, as we are on this call, as we're speaking, and it gets so exciting for me. And I'd love if you want to kind of share some of that, because it's so powerful what happened in just the past year, right?
Just the past year. Well, the first thing that I wanted to share was w- in one of our like first, I think it was like the first conversation that we had was we talked about imposter syndrome, right? And we talked about inner critic, and we spent quite a bit of time kind of addressing that. And one of the things that came out, because right after that conversation, I emailed my content manager with LinkedIn Learning saying the ideas to create a new course for a while, right? And I was just silent, right? I was exactly what you were describing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was silent, right? Because again, like I had beliefs about myself that were not true. And I emailed her right after our conversation, and she emailed me back almost immediately saying, "Oh yeah, I've been waiting for you. Like these are the things that were waiting for you." Right? They were just waiting for me to show up.
Tell it, girl, tell it.
Right? And yeah, so during the course of that engagement that you and I had, right, the hands-on coaching, I had a new course created. I had a new course created. I have tangible, visible, right, proof. You
Let's
can
go.
go. Yes, yes, and started generating me income and things like that. So that was one tangible thing about like the inner critic, and I love when the results happen kind of instantly. So I love that. Like that's top of list. And then there were some financial things I wanted for myself. That connect, as you mentioned, my main priority or main why was I was about to say audacity to be to have an audacity, but agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to have an audacity to be like, you know what, this is not for me, and have agency to walk away from things that were not for me. To have agency and audacity not to be timid, not to say yes to things that I kind of felt I should say yes to, right? But I really didn't want to.
Mm-hmm. We practiced that, and that shift is so quick for you. You were like, now that I have information, I know what I don't want. It made it easier for to say yes to what you did want. That's what I how I saw it. How did you see it?
Um, I think for me, it was important to build the muscle of knowing what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think for me, it's more powerful knowing what I want and then pursuing that versus practicing from the place of, oh, I don't want that, right? Because like I'd rather my preferences to practice something from the curiosity, right? Because those are the driving factors. And like when I talk to myself, what is it that I need, right? That's kind of that helps me to be in the space of making the next step from the place of joy and curiosity versus um, like a place of like limitation or place of discomfort or fear. Both are okay, right? And both happens, but my preference is definitely acting from the place of self-discovery
Mm-hmm.
versus, right, when somebody else places a limitation on me and be like, oh, this doesn't feel good, so let's change that. Both happens, but my intention is to scale up to the place where I show up, right, in the space of like, oh, curiosity, joy, things like that.
And I love that because we had a lot of conversation around, right, what you want and focusing on that.
Yes, and then that freedom fund. So paying off my house and the freedom fund, they were elements of the same equation, right? An equation is agency, being able to make decisions from the place of freedom, right? From the place of wealth. Um, and that for me, like paying off my house was not necessarily about the material wealth, but it was more of a to have an abundance of a feeling of security, feeling safety, like abundance of that, right?
Yes.
Um, and then Freedom Fund, which again has had a amount number or like had a monetary value to it. But and again, this is not about necessarily dollar numbers, right? It's more about what needs to be true for me to feel safe and empowered and supported to act in a way that honors, my truth, right? For just right. So, and in my case, those were the things that needed to be true for me to put myself in a space where I wanted to show up.
I love that for you. And we got, I believe we got to five of the six goals. We were able to accomplish the five out of the six goals.
Yeah, I was okay. So my preference was to replace, right, my income, and that's kind of the source of shame for me right now because I never quite got to that milestone. But I
Yet, yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's still a journey, right? It's still a journey. But I was able to put myself in a position where I could leave the job that no longer served me, right? And something that I'm very proud of is I realized that that particular situation didn't serve me a while back, right? But I'm proud of myself for being very strategic of how I address that, right? And that's kind of going back to putting things in place, or, asking myself a question, what needs to be true for me to make the next step, right? The next step will be like, hey, I want to be able to just say no to things that don't serve me anymore, right? and say it with confidence, right? Remember we talked about confidence over fear?
Yep.
That's exactly right. That's exactly the strategy, right? How do we convert fear into confidence? And for me, it was Freedom Fund. It was certain things that were in place. Um, yeah, and I was able to kind of get myself build the space for myself where I was able to state my exit terms and yeah, and to execute that exit plan based on what served me.
And I love how, because I watched you go from a posture of, I felt like it was a little bit of resentment, some anger, all things tied in there, and you loosened your hand and your grip around it, and you realized, no, it's not FU fun, it's my freedom fun.
Oh, yes. Hmm.
And that is when you stepped into your power. You were like, I got this.
Yes, I have I don't want to say complicated, but it's I have a certain relationship with anger and resentment, right? Because we all feel it, we all feel it, we all have some of it in our life, and I kind of like when things show up in my life, like joy. It could be, different things, joy, curiosity, it could be anxiety, it could be fear, it could be anger, it could be resentment, not necessarily, you know, those are just things that show up.
Yes.
And I know that anger can be a very powerful vehicle for change, right? Kind of going back to my preference, where I would like to be, or my preference from the place I make my decisions. So anger actually is a very powerful place to make that decision. It's in my life, it showed up like I've done very impactful things that required a lot of, persistence or like momentum
I
from the place
agree with
of
that because sometimes you've got to get mad enough to do
right to
the
just to
mountain.
propel.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yes. So I'm saying this to acknowledge the value of anger. I don't want, right, because it's important to, I think ideally, I would want to harness energy, right, and to empower, like nurture my spirit from all of those, right, because they all show up in our life for a reason. And I want to develop a really good relationship to with all of them, right? I want to have a good relationship with my anger. I want to have a good relationship with my fear. I want to have good relationship with my joy, curiosity, all these other things, right? Because all of them are agents that show up for us to direct us. However, I do want to say that acting, like harnessing, being able to harness the momentum and the forward movement from joy or from curiosity, I think for me, that's the most like delicious, right? That's the most delicious change or transformation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's just, learning and kind of going back to that harmony statement that you said. I I love it. I love it. You and I had conversations about like in my space, I post about binary choices, either or when you're forced into binary choice, like knowing that that's a good sign to stop and to think because nothing is binary. It's not never either or.
Exactly.
Right, and then you brought up the concept of balance, right? We have again very overused everywhere, right? Balance, work-life balance. This is balance, balancing, your personal interest with your family needs, balance, balance, balance. Again, there's so much unspoken assumption that comes with it, right? And one of them was the one that you mentioned is it assumes like the kind of I personally envision the like the weight,
Yep.
right? And it's like, okay, you have, three of this, you have to have three of that. So it's, the scale is balanced. It's assumes that they're like equal amounts of two things.
Right.
While like this is such a, to an extent, it's a very harmful belief because it's impossible. First of all, they're like never two things.
That part.
right? And you never have equal and steady amount of the things. You always have it's a fluid, like our life is
Yes.
fluid.
Yeah, like it's a
So
yin and a yang, it's a give and a take, it's a
so your reframe of that into a harmony instead,
mm-hmm.
that is a more accurate, more gentle, more realistic way to describe what it is that like I would love for myself, right? And because with harmony, we all understand that it's a changeable, growing, evolving thing, right? And harmony, like we think about music, right? And we know how music is, right? We all experience, how that is, right? How music is put together, how it sounds, how we experience it. Anyways, I forget why I was saying this, but harmony, right? So the reason I brought up all of them, right? The joy, the curiosity, anger, fear.
Mm-hmm.
It would be amazing to have, right? Because I want to invite, like, I want to have a space for all of that, right? Because those are all different faces of myself. Yes, I can be fearful. Yes, I can be confident. Yes, I can be tired or I can be energetic. And for me, it's important to welcome all of me,
Absolutely.
right? Kind of going back to that other limitation that our standard perception of self-care or like self-love, it's like, oh, positive thinking, positive. And yes, while it's really important to be able to reframe certain things in a positive light, because it's a good, effective coping mechanism, right? And it helps us to kind of keep moving instead of being stuck. I do strongly believe that not everything is positive, and that's totally fine. And having space for knowing that it exists, having space for it, and knowing that, you can love yourself when you are bitter. You can love yourself when you're exhausted.
Two things or more can be true at the same time.
Exactly. And usually more than two things are true.
Absolutely. I love this for you. I feel like a proud mama bear. Get it, get it, get it. Yes.
Selena, I'm so thankful for you. I keep learning from you every day. You and I have conversations. I'm like, oh, oh, ah. It's
It's
very
as
nourishing. It's very
Jennifer does the
nourishing and
same.
nurturing.
Yeah. I love what'd you say?
It's very nourishing and nurturing. Like I feel I feel abundant when I talk with you.
Oh, I might need to repeat this in some other places. Would I get your permission to do that?
Yes, yeah, 100%. Yes, I feel abundant when I talk with you.
Thank you. I'm so giddy and you make me just smile just seeing the lights come on for you and knowing the space that you're in now, that the freedoms that you've created for yourself. Continue to practice, right? Um, so that you will have everything that you desire. There's no doubt. You know what I told you early on that I know is true for you. I don't know if you've caught it onto it yet, but I know it is true for you. That you're going to be a millionaire. You know what I was going to say, right? You're going to be a millionaire. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind.
I'm smiling because I love this. You're like, there's something I know. You probably, I don't know if like you caught on to that yet. It's really funny how you're like, yeah, I've known this, right? But it's part of growth, right? And it's part of um mentor-mentee relationship, right? Sometimes, we see things about other people that they don't realize they have, or they don't realize that they are gonna grow into something that we see for them. And it's funny because this is something like when, in the parenting relationship, when I'm guiding my daughter, right? With children, like we know, right? I mean, we're grown. There's certain things that we for sure see for them and be like, yeah, this is something, right? That would definitely happen, right? But as someone who hasn't walked the walk yet, right? You don't know what you don't know
Right.
sometimes.
And I am honoring my gifts now because I know that I have been given the gift of knowing. Like I instantly know things about people that most probably wouldn't. I thought that was normal. I thought all people did. But I can meet somebody in the bathroom and instantly know like what words to say to them, things like that. And they share things with me that they've never shared with other people or never even said out loud. And be like, I don't know why I'm telling you. And my best friend would always say, um, you got your woo on from Clifton Strengths. One of my
Right.
highest
Mhm.
top five is woo. And for a long time I didn't know what was going on because all I would say was hi to people. You know me.
Right. Yes.
And and they would share. She's like, you're the only person I know that can go in the bathroom full of strangers and come out knowing all their business. I was like, all I said was hi. All I said was hi.
I confirm. I certify. I certify that about you.
And it's I get in so many situations and it's like but I'm not gonna ask to turn that off because that's who I am. That's how I show up. And I really love that about me now. I didn't understand it at first, but now that I know, I want to embrace that. And it's really around my life's work. I didn't know that I would, if you told me I would be a teaching and coaching and disruptor, it was nowhere on my bingo card. And that's how when you trust your spirit and you continue to practice saying yes to the things that your path is offering, you build your intuition and your knowing. And so to see you in that space, it's like, yes, 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 yes. Super excited because I remember the first day we met,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
all of the things. And so I have seen your journey and the journey and the path is very bright, very bright. Well, I know you got to get out of here. I am going to continue on with the presentation so you all get the rest of the meat and that it is out there. And I was just thinking when I had to take that quick bio break, it's like I just nothing about what needs to happen here can be done in an hour. It just can't. And I'm going to honor that. So
Right.
you get
How much, how many more slides do you have?
um I have we already did that one. Did that one. I just have a couple um some things I want to give as tools. Let's see. Let me go back. So the do you want to stay a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. If it's just for a little bit, yeah,
Yeah, let's
I want to finish.
10
Hmm.
minutes maybe. So cost of neglect, right? When we don't lean into our self-love care, some of the ways that it shows up, right? The calendar, because we ain't even on it. When you look at your calendar, where you at? Where you at? Your body, right? Like you were sharing the story about when you were doing the performance and all of that, how some of that showed up in your body and made you aware right away. It's like, oh, okay, I'm good. Cool. In our pricing, you and I have an example around that when you were going to do the pitch to LinkedIn, and I talked about allowing me to see it before you share it, right? And I just want, and I think I kind of off the cuff said, I just want to make sure that you're not over giving or something to that effect.
Mhm.
And I recall
Yeah,
you
yeah.
saying that at the time it didn't register, but then as you thought about it, it landed and you could see
Yes. I
yourself
remember that conversation.
starting to put more in there. And it's like, yeah, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that sort of thing. And it's just it just happens until we're aware that it's happening and then can make that adjustment, right? Same thing here. I know my value and my worth. I have to be willing to say, hey, I'm going to allow for something to be less than for now so that I can really serve the woman that I want to serve because she has not created the posture of investing in herself yet, right? So the harmony in it for me is not being so rigid about it's got to be this, right? Now, there's certain other rules of engagement, right? Got to be willing and ready. So there has to be some investment, time, energy, and monetarily. Money decisions, right? Um, the importance for you around the Freedom Fund and what that needed to look like. Boundaries. Boundaries, again, getting your needs met. Most people believe that boundaries are for someone else or for the people are putting a boundary in place because they don't want me to do this and they don't want me to do that. But the boundary is for you to get your needs met. And when you neglect them, you're not getting your needs met. And the name of the game is that, right? Because you are responsible for your needs. Relationships. Hides in your relationships, right? Over giving, self-sacrificing. Oh, because we've been conditioned to believe that that's being nice and kind. Nice and kind keeps Miss I got time for everybody except myself suffering.
Yeah.
And the capacity to show up. You don't have it for the things that you want to show up for. You're showing up for everybody else. You didn't pimp yourself out to all of them, right? Harmony, right? You use some of the examples that I've identified. One another big one. So people are enamored that Saturday is Saturday and Sunday are all dedicated to me. Saturday is my self-love day. So all around relationships and where I want to show up with people and be present and things like that. And just or spending time with myself. And it's my day of rest if I choose to. Sunday is my self-care day. So I have a whole self-love care weekend. Um, and that's when I like do everything to help meet my needs to prepare me for the week. So it could be laundry, but I do laundry through the week. And so what I'm saying about that, in order for me to get to that and have that posture, I started years ago. Anything that feels like a task or work, I only do it through the week, Monday through Friday, because I'm already working and all of those things. So I just add it on there like like that, and then that frees me up. I don't want to be running around trying to get in the stores and do all of the things because everybody else is doing it on Saturday. So I just do it through the week and it frees up my weekend for them to truly be mine. So that's another way that harmony can be created. Figuring out a rhythm and a system that allows you your time. The other is waking up earlier, creating a practice so that you are first on your list first thing in the morning. It is so powerful. When I was working in corporate America, I started recognizing that I need 3 hours for myself first thing in the morning. When I get those 3 hours, I don't feel time robbed because anything after that, if it does or doesn't happen, it doesn't matter because I met my needs. I get to journal, I get to sip my tea or whatever I want to do. Um, work on my business, do all my things that I want for me in that day before the world gets moving and all of that. So my rhythm is to rise at 5. I'm not on that rhythm at the moment because, things happen, but
Hmm.
is to get to that and know what that looks like and create that space for myself in there. Right? So that's what'll create your capacity. You get to determine that by moving things out of the way to do that aren't there. They're taking up space that is yours, that you've willingly given up. You get to decide that you don't want to do that anymore. You can change your mind at any time. It is within your willpower and your right. Shows up in business growth. What it hides in what's going on in the business. Shows up in emotional bandwidth, right? The anxiety, the sadness, um, all of that. And sometimes it's the other way around, right? You're wearing a mask and pretending like you have joy and all of these things, dressed to the nines and all of the things, and just everything's dead on the inside in your identity. I used to believe that the grief, guilt, and shame, I thought everybody could see it. That's how what I was feeling on the inside, and especially um, the guy that I love, I call him Boo. I always thought he could see it, and it kept me operating and doing things out of guilt and shame, right? Instead of speaking my truth, speaking my heart, and just releasing all of that. So, where has neglect been quietly running your life? Right? It's a reflection to consider because you can create the sacred disruption that is needed to change the trajectory of that. I already talked about who Miss Denise is, her faces. We've talked about mental wealth. Which part of the equation needs your most support right now for you to have that? This is one I want us to do, the mental wealth audit. So answer these questions. There's seven, yep, 7 questions, and let's talk about it. So the mental wealth check-in audit, do you feel grounded? Yes or no? And you can just answer them to yourself, and we'll calculate what that looks like. I can hear myself. I honor my needs. I have emotional capacity, and what you feel like that is for you. I'm not running on fumes. I'm not avoiding myself. I can make clear decisions. So when you look at that, put all the questions there, let you have time to reflect on those, and then and let's look at what the audit may reveal for you.
Yeah, I think I'm half and half.
Okay, half and half.
So,
Hmm.
so the answer is like in general or in this very moment from because for me it changes. Like
Absolutely.
it's not a static. For
And
me, it's more it's like, oh, most of the time or least of the time.
so in this moment, because we only have the present,
The present. Okay.
right?
Let me run through those one more time if you
Hmm.
scroll up.
Absolutely.
Hmm. Yep. And then what are the last few? Yeah, so I think I said no to two of them. And they were like emotional capacity, and there was another bullet point up top.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's split up.
Yeah, no worries. or maybe just one. Like emotional capacity is something that popped up for me.
And so that leaves you 6 out of 7 yeses.
Yeah, I can make clear decisions. Yes, I'm not avoiding myself. I'm not avoiding myself, running on fumes. Not running on fumes.
Awesome. So what does 6 out of 7 say for you? What does that reveal for you?
Uh, I'm paying attention to myself. I think that's the main thing. Um, it's a daily work to keep the noise down. Yeah, for me, right? Like it takes daily work, and I don't have the practice that you describe where you wake up in the morning and it's like 3 hours, like you start with you. Um, that has been a challenge for me for since middle school started, because middle school starts earlier than elementary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not an early bird by any means.
Mm-hmm.
So usually, like in practical terms, me time starts like late,
Right.
right?
And
When I
that's
go
okay. It's whatever is true for you, right? If you decide to put that l later in the day or at the end of the day after the little one is, down,
settle down, yeah. I think that's like from practical perspective how it can be actually executed. That's something that I've been doing. So mornings are a little hectic.
right?
But again, this is a season, right? And I'm giving myself grace to
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be rigid.
Absolutely. It can be as hard, soft, middle of the road, rigid, edgy. It can be whatever is true for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, it is a season. And as you get more data, um, it helps make the decision, right? It helps you make the decisions. Like I practiced this, I tried it. Yeah, that ain't working. You can
Yeah.
absolutely change your mind at any time.
Yeah. Going back to practice, right? Practice, practice, practice and reevaluate.
Absolutely. Course correction all the time.
Practice and
Because it's
adjust.
your path.
That's another thing because we're going to talk about rhythm, right? So in my dance practice, and I observe, like because um, I have several professional dancers in my life who I consistently observe how they show up, how
Right.
they teach, how they train. And then this is just a very, very literal representation of what rhythm and pivot looks like, right? I would assume that, dancers, they have everything figured out, right? They have the sequences learned, they have, right? But in reality, that's not how it is. They always adjust based on musicality and the rhythm, which could be different, right? Could be different on the day or depending on the audience and things like that. So, kind of as an example, just a kind of a metaphoric example of how what that might look like. Having a plan does not negate the ability and capacity and necessity of practicing change, practicing pivoting and adjusting. Um,
Yeah. And that's why I say all the time to give yourself permission to change your mind.
mhm.
Because some don't know that they can make that shift.
But that's allowed. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
It's
allowed.
absolutely. And you get to decide because you say so,
Yeah,
right? So if the rhythm doesn't change, the results don't either. Your rhythm changes when you stop carrying in emergencies, start carrying in consistency, build capacity slowly, daily, stop abandoning yourself. You honor your needs as non-negotiable. So when you think about it, what rhythm needs to change today? You should reflect on that. And I know a lot of the reflections, they have weight, right? They're not a a one word answer, right? Some of it can look very, very different, um, what that looks like. So this is where we get to the live Q&A, and we've kind of walked through a lot of that. Questions that you can ask yourself or me. What woke up in you today? What truth are you avoiding? What do you want to stop carrying? Carrying, like
Right.
what's in your bag?
Just drop it, just set it down and move on.
And what need have I ignored for too long? And so the goal of this, and be marinating on it, because when we meet Friday, um, it's around how to help you integrate or what other questions you have, and put that on the December post, right? So collect them there, and then we'll talk about them. And as I have opportunity too, if there are things that I can answer right away, then we'll do that as well.
Can I take a quick picture of those questions? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm. So I can follow up on those. Yeah, I did.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And so this is from a different slide, but you are already have accepted the invitation to the Sacred Circle Reset experience. So you are here. But I also extend ask that you extend the invitation to others that could use the medicine and the space and the season that we are in to share the community.
Mhm. And by that, like in practical terms, that sacred invitation is a post on schools, right? Which I can copy the link and share.
Yeah, let me show you exactly where you go to find that. Oh, is my screen shared?
Y-
Can you see the school community?
yeah,
Yeah.
Sacred Circle Reset Experience.
So I'm an admin in here, but you would go to the about,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a invite, but I believe that is typically here on the
Uh-huh.
about where you can send to share. So right there, and I think there is one here also. If you go
Okay.
under members. See, it looks different for me because I'm
You're the owner. Yeah, you're the
this
owner of the page.
this is where it is, but I'm pretty certain it's on the about page.
Okay.
On the about page, you'll see the link to be able to share, and it takes them to this.
Okay.
Or you can just copy and paste um, the link here, and it'll take them to this page. But if you share the link from I'm pretty sure it's from here, it shows that you recommended that person and they're using their link.
Okay.
We aren't there yet, but as the numbers grow, I will be offering affiliate. Uh,
Program.
yep, yep, it's all the good stuff. And we got some new stuff going on in the community. Sacred News is going to be happening weekly, different things that are going on in the community and showing you around. The first one is going to be the welcome video. I'm going to do that today. And then this one is the Sacred Group Connection Call. I don't know if you saw, I sent a communication about this. This is going to be from noon to 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So I know it's a little early in your time zone, but this is just a group call. It is self-managed. I will or will not be there depending on what's going on, but it's for you all to come together as a community.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a weekly pause to breathe, ground, and reset in community. You know, I'm all about that midweek reset. So this is the midweek reset in action. You can also do it on the post in the community, but you can also come in community with the women here. And you would come to the calendar and click that link and get right into the community. So it is not recorded. Each person take 3 minutes to share your wins, any challenges, where you might need support, and what you did for joy. And then, yeah, it says it's a warm circle of clarity, capacity, and connection. So come as you are. So you can come during lunch or whatever makes sense for you. And that's going to be a weekly rhythm that we will have in the community. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Any questions before we go? I'm gonna just look one more thing.
No questions. I already scheduled that next call
Okay,
for
your
January 7th.
okay, your sacred clarity call.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Super fantastic. Okay, yeah, we're good. You stop sharing. Well, it has been wunderbar.
Wunderbar.
Time. Oh, let me close the circle. You know I'm big on that. We gotta get our circle. We set the intention to open this circle.
Yes, we're gonna open the circle and we're gonna close it.
We're gonna close the circle. Yes, Mom. Okay. Let me get that for you. Oop, come back. This thing be doing. Now it's like it's froze. Don't be acting like that. Sorry, Natasha. I don't know what's happening here. My tech, when I don't know if Mercury is still in retrograde or what, but my tech had been acting crazy the last few weeks. All right, let's give it a share and we will close it out. Thank you so much. Okay. May the love I give away return to me tenfold. May I walk with my spine straight and my heart wide. May I remember that saying yes to myself isn't selfish, it's sacred. May my reflection show me the woman I'm becoming, not the woman the world demanded I be. The circle is closed, but the shift has begun, and so it is. And I write these with intention so that when you're reading it, you're internalizing it, and it isn't as if it's about someone else. So that's another practice as well within itself. When you're writing, put I, me, first person. Well, that's our time today. Thank you. Thank you for your presence and being here and your voice and your shares.
Thank you.
I'll see you on Friday and in the community. The module will be up later today for the other content.
All
Okay?
right. I'm looking forward to getting to know, the community structure and stuff. So
That is coming out in the welcome video.
okay, that would be helpful.
Yes. Take good care.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.